Faith is your ability to make a decision now on something you cannot see yet. Okay, what does faith mean?
Without necessity, it's going to be way harder for you to uphold your own decisions. Because Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another very special, as always, episode of Next Level University, where we teach you how to level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed our latest episode. Kim Spencer was our guest on our Meetup Monday.
Oh, yeah?
How to own your story and reclaim your feminine power. I can't read your handwriting. It's not great. Today, for episode number 584, one hard truth you need to hear.
Mm-hmm. So this frame is basically the idea that no matter what, Kevin and I were in the studio earlier, and I asked him a simple question. I said, can you grow without challenge? And he said, no. And then I said, can you grow without pain? And he said, yes. And then we kind of discussed drove to 5 on that. And you basically, eventually we landed on, can you grow without physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual discomfort? Can you grow without discomfort? On some level, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual. And he's like, no, you cannot grow. Basically, you cannot grow without challenge, and you cannot be challenged without some discomfort. So the question becomes, if you want to grow, which you're listening to this show, so you clearly do, you want to become more, you're going to have to be more uncomfortable staying where you are than the discomfort of what's necessary to get to where you want to go.
I did a post the other day that I think it said, we only grow to the level that we're forced to. Mm. There is no...
Go deeper. Forced to. What do you mean?
This is why one of the big reasons why goals are so important. So if you, let's just say you're in your life wherever you are, and you decide, you know what, I don't feel like I have to go anywhere but here. I'm okay in my relationship. I'm okay with my job. I'm okay with my body. I'm okay with what I've learned. I'm okay with my bank account. I'm okay with all of that. How much necessity do you actually have to get better?
Very little.
Very little. Very little. But if I came into your life and said, okay, what do you really want out of life? Like, what do you really want? You said, well, I want to have a successful podcast. I want to have a book. I want to be a speaker. I want to have my dream relationship. Mm. You, by saying those things, you're now partially signing up to do what is necessary to get those things.
Right.
Or you're saying you want it without understanding what's necessary, which is a whole nother thing. But the thing is, if you don't have a reason, you don't have necessity.
Right.
And if you don't have necessity, it's going to be way harder to push yourself. And again, we pride ourselves on being super heart-driven and no BS, because I think it's important. And you guys know we love you, and we're only telling you the truth that we think you need to hear.
For sure.
But unless you have a reason to get better, you'll have bigger excuses most likely. Like, your excuses will be bigger than your non-existing reasons. Just because staying comfortable feels great until you realize how much you've jeffed by not getting outside of your comfort zone, not growing, not contributing, not trying to create something better for yourself, not trying to create a better reality.
So if you're out there listening right now, think about a time when you were invited to either a wedding or a party that you really didn't want to go to because you struggle with social anxiety or you were afraid to be uncomfortable. But you ended up going anyway. Why? Because you were more uncomfortable saying no to the person who invited you to the wedding. Kev, what's a wedding that you went to that you genuinely...
I literally only been at 2 weddings in my entire life. I'm probably not the case study here.
Okay. All right. So let's say you're out there listening and you get invited to someone's wedding, and this is before COVID, okay?
I mean, we could use Brendan Burchard's event.
Let's do that.
We've talked about that. We have a lot of new listeners who might not have heard, back in, 2018?
I believe so, yeah.
High
Performance Academy.
Alan messaged me and said, hey, I just got messaged by Brendan Burchard's team. They're going to give us 2 free tickets to come out to High Performance Academy. Here's the thing, though. It's in California, and I know you hate planes.
It's Arizona.
No, Arizona.
Yep.
I know you hate planes, all this happy jazz. And then he basically said, like, I know how important this is for our long-term growth, for the business, for the podcast. I think this is something that you should do. I didn't want to go. Like, that was when we flew down to Florida to see T-Mac.
Yep.
Then we flew back to Massachusetts for some reason, and then we flew out to Arizona. And like I had taken more plane rides that week than I had taken in my entire life, and I was miserable because I hate planes. I was thinking of every single reason not to go. I was thinking that it wasn't going to be worth it. What am I possibly going to learn here that's going to change my life? Like, who am I really going to meet? All of that stuff. The only reason I went, 2 reasons. One, Alan convinced me, and I trusted Alan's judgment. I had really big, even at that time, I had big goals of like, well, we get to see Brendan, right? Like, there's some other speakers that I've heard of. The opportunity's there. If that necessity wasn't there, and honestly, I was in debt.
Right.
To the point where like I didn't even know how I was going to afford this. That was another thing. So there was so much necessity associated with our mission and where we were that the pain of not going and my fear of regret and my fear of FOMO and my fear of is Alan going to like look back at this in a year and say like, hey, we really should have done that. Is Alan going to go without me? There was a lot of those things.
That's powerful. So is Alan going to go without me?
I'm sure you probably would have.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't want to, but I would have probably. That pushed you outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because the discomfort of potentially being quote unquote left behind or missing out was higher than the discomfort of the planes and the event.
Yeah.
And that's why you did it. I think it's important for everyone out there to realize that you are always making your decisions from 2 main places. And this is something I'm going to start saying a lot more because I'm realizing this in myself as well. You are either making a decision from a belief of fear, from a place of fear, or faith. Faith is your ability to make a decision now on something you cannot see yet. Okay, what does faith mean? I have faith that going to this event, even though we don't have the money, even though I'm afraid of planes, even though, I'm not certain, it's going to be worth it. That's faith-based decision. Unfortunately, the animal side of all of our nature runs most of our decision-making paradigm, especially early in our personal development journey. So I had to unintentionally, but somewhat now I realize might have been intentionally, I had to trigger Kevin's fear in terms of I am more afraid to stay here than I am to go.
Right.
And that's why you went, and it changed your entire life. And it's like, I wonder to myself, there's one person in particular. So for those of you who don't know, we're starting up book club, Next Level Bookclub, starting this Saturday, April 3rd at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope you message me, simple DM, and I'll send you the Zoom link and password. It's going to be fire.
Boom.
And you don't even, literally, you can turn off your mic, turn off your camera. Like, if it's just me talking about the book and people listening, I would be nothing but happy about that. That said, this person who I talked to yesterday told me that they are so scared to miss out. They don't want to miss out on book club. They're like they feel like they're going to miss out on so much learning, so much of the community. This person's very ingrained in the community. And I thought to myself, like, that's interesting. Your fear of missing out is going to get you to show up. And I wonder to myself, like, how many people out there right now are more uncomfortable with the idea of not growing than they are of what it will take to grow. And I think that it's really important to understand that.
And I just lean back on the goals.
Right.
So one of my intentions and one of the things I wanted to get across when Alan and I were talking about this is when Alan and I are on podcasts, or it happens more when I'm by myself, I think, because we go in different directions. But when I'm on a podcast and they say, like, one of the things you talk about a lot is consistency. And like, what do you think sets you apart in terms of consistency? And I said, this isn't for everybody. So if you're watching or listening, this might not be for you. But again, this is the no BS. This is my no BS answer. I signed on the dotted line when I decided I wanted to have the success that I wanted to have. And I understand and I have an agreement with myself that everything I don't do on my system of success, every time I decide not to do it, I'm getting further away from my goals. That, like, I don't think I'm any more motivated or inspired. I just put myself in pain more often than other people are willing to. When I say you have to lean on your necessity, this is the thing I don't think people talk about. This is the one hard truth, from my opinion, that you need to hear. Without necessity, it's going to be way harder for you to uphold your own decisions. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this or listening to this, it's obvious that you want to get to the next level of your life. We can help you get there faster.
In 3 months from today, your life can look completely different. Here's how. Group coaching. Here's what you're going to get. So you're going to get bi-weekly calls with Kevin and myself. You're going to be on a team of 10 like-minded, growth-oriented individuals. You're also going to be in a WhatsApp chat with Kevin and I and the entire team, 24/7 access to chat. Also, you're going to get bi-weekly progress reports and peak performance tracking.
Guys, this is a great opportunity for those who can't afford one-on-one coaching with Alan and myself. We have helped dozens and dozens of people get to the next level at this point. Go to nextleveluniverse.com, click group coaching, or find the link in the show notes.
Talk to you soon.
Because
Right.
what is the downside of you ordering pizza? If you don't have any necessity.
No goals. If you
I-
have no goals, there's no downside.
If I gave you $100 and said, like, I'm going to pay for it, right? Like, I know you're not really focused on exercise and stuff right now.
Right.
There's not enough pain associated with you doing it.
Right.
I'll literally have those times where it's like, okay, I really want pizza. But I then give myself pain. But it's going to cost $27 probably. It's money you don't have to spend. You have stuff in the fridge. I try to do the opposite, and I try to convince myself with the pain of like you're wasting money. The gym's going to suck tomorrow. You're not going to be able to sleep because you're going to have heartburn. You're not going to feel good. I do the opposite, and I think again it's a fine line, and you can go off the rails with that. But that's because I've created necessity around saving money, around trying to eat healthier, even though I jeffed this weekend. You know, I think that's something that people are afraid to. If you're afraid to put your back against the wall, it's going to be way harder to let yourself. That's all I'm not doing that other people are. I just don't let myself off the hook as much. Of course I still do.
Yeah.
Of course I still do. But not as much when it comes to the things for the business.
I think that the great analogy that I've said many times is this. So Kevin and I, as you know, if you're listening to this show, we're doing group coaching, and it's amazing to me how much public accountability affects us as human beings. We're all tribe-oriented. And like the NLU team, it's literally, we do weekly reports on peak performance tracking, and that motivates people so much because no one wants to be the bottleneck to the team, you know? And this is the analogy I use. There's two versions of you out there. And if you're out there listening, like really think about this for a second, okay? One version of you just wants to run for fun. Okay? That's the first version. Excellent. Want to run for fun? You get a runner's high. You ever had a runner's high? It's like it feels good, right? Yeah. Just like when you box. Okay, feels good. You always feel good that you did it. Exercise is great. Very important. Okay, wants to run for fun. Second person says, I'm going to do a marathon, half marathon, and I'm going to invite all my friends and family in 3 months from today. Who is more likely to run every day? That second version of you is so much more likely to run every day. Why? Because they're afraid of the pain of getting embarrassed.
Right.
If you don't run ever and train, you will be embarrassed and you won't be able to finish the marathon. That discomfort, the fear of the discomfort of being embarrassed is greater than the fear of running or the discomfort of running every day. Whereas that first person just wants to run for fun. Running for fun sounds great. It's not a thing. Kev, I've been very humbled. I told you I was going to exercise every day for the rest of my life. I broke that promise to myself. Genuinely. It was unreasonably difficult. I thought I would exercise every day for 40 minutes, and I was like, I'm going to weight train for the rest of my life. After COVID, I got all excited the gyms were open back up. I jeffed. It was so much harder than I thought.
I believe it.
It is you think it's easy? It sounds easy. Exercise every day for 40 minutes. Seriously. Doesn't that sound like doable?
In my mind, when you said it, I was like, it's just a matter of time.
It's just a matter of time. I kept it up for probably like 4 or 5 months. Dude, it was so hard to do. It was mind-blowingly difficult to do. Human beings want to believe that they work out consistently. They want to believe that they can run for fun every day. Yeah. It's not how we're wired. We are wired for survival. You have to put yourself up against the wall. You have to have necessity. Have to.
And it's interesting because when I'm telling you this, I don't want to bring you pain. I want you, because I understand if you give yourself necessity, then every single thing in your life will change.
Yep.
Every opportunity will be more impactful. Everything you hear will actually have more power because you're able to do more with it.
Right.
You'll be paying attention to things because you have the necessity, right? What's a good example? Okay. If you're listening to this and you just started a business and you're saying, I want to make X amount of money this year, and we do an episode on business, you're 100% more likely to, I mean, I'm making the stat up, and I'm going to go with it. You're 100% more likely to not only listen to, but to focus in on what we're talking about if we're talking about business.
Right.
If you decide I want to have the best relationship I can with my significant other, with my partner, you're going to listen to when we talk about relationships or when we have a guest on.
Yep.
Right. And you're literally going to see the things that you're focused on. You already are.
Yep.
The question is, are you focused on the right things?
Right. We'll go in a second
We
here.
will?
But
Shout out to some people.
we just
first.
surpassed, what episode is this, Kev?
This is 584.
Okay, 584. The only difference between Kevin and I and other podcasters who aren't consistent is that Kevin and I associate way more pain to not following through. We put a line in the sand and said, Kev, we are doing 1 episode a week, and we stuck to that. Then it was 2 a week, and we stuck to that. Then it was 3 a week, and we stuck to that. Then it was 4 a week, we stuck to that, 5 a week.
Yep.
We will not miss because it's our identity. We won't miss. We can't miss. It's like, dude, we even said we would podcast from the hospital. We said heart-driven but no BS. Do you have that level of commitment? And if you don't, that's okay, but just try to understand what you're leaving on the table. You know, Kevin and I genuinely had a hard talk before this. We didn't want to record.
Definitely not.
We have to record because the pain associated with not recording is not acceptable. We would let every one of you down if we did. So
that's the other thing. You guys are a huge part of our necessity.
The biggest part.
The biggest part. Speaking of, just wanted to give a big shout out to the new members of Next Level Nation. There's a lot. Next Level Nation is growing quickly. We have Dan, Isaac, Stephanie, Renee, Caitlin, Janelle, Kathleen, Wes, Joe, Erica, Pat, V-Rat,
Wow.
Christina, Tika, Orlando, Michelle, Chelsea, Jill, Matt, Kayla, Lucy, and Ingrid.
Wow.
Pretty strong.
Congrats on being a part of the community.
Yes.
That's strong.
As always, you can get a direct link to Next Level Nation in the show notes. And we have changed up the way we are doing our weekly Meetup Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
So from now on, instead of having to search down a Zoom link to get into the room, what we will do is we will be broadcasting straight from the studio into Next Level Nation. So you'll be able to see everything live. You can also comment on the live video, and we'll literally be able to see it on our end, and we can respond. Amy will be fielding the comments. And then, in the description of the live video, we are going to have a Zoom link. We're going to do 40 minutes of Alan and I chatting, going through our lessons, talking our stories, all that happy jazz. And the last 20 minutes, from 6:40 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, is going to be the meetup with the team and other people in that private Zoom room. So all you have to do is click the link in the description of the live, which will be right there in Next Level Nation. It'll take you right to it, and you will be joined by the team and all the other people who want to get to the next level. Behind the scenes, as always, that will be private. You can show up. You don't even have to speak. You can have your camera off or on if you just want to see what the community is all about.
Absolutely. And if you want more necessity in your life, that is why we opened group coaching. I want you to think back to a time when you were the most on point, okay? And if that's not right now, that's okay, but we want to get you back there. What was different? I would be willing to bet you were on some form of a winning team. Maybe it was a peak performance partner. Maybe you were playing softball or baseball or basketball. You were in a community that all were working towards a common goal. There's almost no exception to this because we're all tribal from an evolutionary standpoint. We're trying to replicate that in group coaching. There are 3 things that matter most on a winning team. Number 1 is, do I feel connected here? Number 2 is, do I feel safe here? And number 3 is, do I have a bright future here? And that is predicated on leadership, culture, and systems. Kevin and I, group coaching round 3 just opened up. It's on the website. Go to nextleveluniverse.com. I'm pretty sure we already have one person signed up. And get there as soon as you can, because we're going to close that thing it's starting at the very beginning of May. I think we said May 5th.
I believe I will check while you go.
But we're kickstarting that at the beginning of May. We are going to start it with or without 10 full people, but we're pretty sure it will fill very fast. So go there, nextleveluniverse.com, click on group coaching. There's more information. But basically, if you want to be the most on point you've ever been in your life, we are going to provide necessity, but also support. We're going to help you create peak performance tracking. You're going to have bi-weekly progress reports, and anyone is welcome. You do not have to be world-class. You do not have to be crazy next level. Everybody starts somewhere. The goal is not to be the best. It's to be a little better than you used to be to get to the next level.
And that is May 7th. And like Alan said, we're going to be there to support you in every step of the way. We have so many messages going on in the WhatsApp group from people just lifting other members who are dealing with relationship things, who are dealing with lack of motivation and inspiration. This is the way to get into an even tighter-knit community of people who are heart-driven, who want to support others, and they want to support themselves. So that will help you tremendously.
And you get to pick your own team name. The first group is Ambitious Army.
Yes.
Second group is Gratitude with Attitude. And so the third group, I'm curious to see what it ends up.
Jeff Squared.
It'll be Jeff Squared, yeah. Perfect.
You dig?
I dig.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you. We love you. And as always, we do not have fans. We only have family. We will talk to you on the next one.
Talk to you soon.